Right now, as you sit in your own home, there could be an object sitting on a shelf, hidden under a couch, or even hanging on your wall that was placed there to destroy you. And the scariest part, you probably don't even realize it. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 7 objects witches place in your home to block your blessings, drain your finances, and stir chaos in your relationships. And more importantly, how to spot them and remove them before they destroy you. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever walked into your home and just felt heavy? Like arguments break out for no reason, money slips through your fingers, or nightmares keep you awake? That's not random. Spiritual forces work through physical objects. And if even one of these 7 is hiding in your space, it could be the open door that's letting darkness walk right in. When it comes to the way witches, or those practicing dark rituals, try to infiltrate a person's life, one of the most overlooked methods is through everyday looking objects. These are things that appear normal, harmless, even decorative, but they are spiritually manipulated to carry negative energy. The idea is not that the object itself is inherently evil, but that it has been used as a tool, prayed over or cursed, and then placed in a home so it becomes a channel for destructive influence. People often underestimate how powerful the transfer of energy can be through physical items, and this is exactly why these objects are used. They blend in. If you were to see something unusual or overtly dark, you would likely remove it immediately. But when it comes wrapped as a gift, looks artistic, or simply seems like a regular household decoration, it escapes suspicion and sits comfortably in your space, silently working against you. Imagine someone hands you a gift, a piece of jewelry, a carved ornament, or a simple trinket. You accept it, maybe even put it on display. But behind the scenes, that object could have been spiritually charged with intentions meant to limit your success or create blockages. It's like handing someone a beautifully wrapped package that contains a hidden toxin. It doesn't look threatening at all, but once it's inside your environment, it slowly releases its influence. The spiritual realm often works through physical conduits, and objects provide one of the easiest ways to create a doorway. This method is effective because people are naturally attached to things. You might think of the sentimental value of a gift, the financial value of an ornament, or the artistic beauty of a decorative piece. This attachment keeps you from questioning it, and the longer it stays in your possession, the stronger its influence can become. Everyday, looking objects don't raise red flags precisely because they don't fit the stereotype of something dangerous. This is why so many homes unknowingly host these items for years, and their owners never connect the dots between the object and the ongoing spiritual disturbances in their lives. What makes these objects even more dangerous is that they often appear at vulnerable times. Someone might gift you such an item during a celebration, a birthday, a wedding, or when you've just moved into a new home. At that moment, your guard is down because your focus is on joy, excitement, and transition. When your defenses are lowered, something with a hidden agenda can slip past unnoticed. Spiritual attacks don't always come with loud alarms. More often, they come quietly, subtly, and in ways that look like kindness or generosity. Another key point is that not all cursed objects are handed to you directly. Sometimes they are placed strategically in your path, so you'll pick them up yourself. For example, you might find a coin, pendant, or small charm near your front door, or even inside your home where you least expect it. Because these are everyday items, you don't automatically suspect anything sinister. But picking them up, keeping them, or allowing them to stay in your space can be enough to bring their negative energy into your environment. This is why people often experience sudden heaviness, strange misfortunes, or even arguments in the home without realizing the root is tied to something as ordinary as an object on a shelf or a coin on the floor. What is crucial to understand is that awareness gives you authority. Once you know that every day, looking objects can carry such weight, you stop accepting things blindly. You begin to discern whether a gift carries peace or discomfort. You learn to trust that inner nudge that says, something about this feels off. You don't need to live in paranoia, but you do need to live in discernment. A home is meant to be a place of peace, rest, and protection, not a hiding ground for items carrying spiritual poison. The simple act of questioning, removing, or cleansing such objects can be the difference between a household filled with unrest and one filled with blessing. Cursed gifts or ornaments are among the most subtle yet dangerous tools used by those who practice witchcraft or manipulate dark energy. At first glance, a gift seems like an expression of care, appreciation, or goodwill. Human nature leans toward gratitude, and we are conditioned to accept what others offer us with open hearts. But not all gifts are given with pure intentions. Some are chosen specifically because they have been prayed over, cursed, or charged with energy meant to create blockages in the life of the recipient. The object itself becomes a carrier, like a container holding invisible poison. Once placed in your home, it does not sit idle, it releases influence. Sometimes slowly, sometimes immediately, depending on the level of energy attached to it. When you consider how much value people place on gifts, you begin to understand why this tactic is so effective. If someone gives you a beautiful ornament, an intricate piece of jewelry, or a stunning household decoration, the natural response is to cherish it. You might display it proudly or wear it often. In doing so, you unknowingly bring the energy it carries close to you, allowing it to influence not only your home, but also your spirit, your finances, and even your health. People rarely suspect malice behind something that comes in gift wrapping. This makes it a perfect disguise for spiritual interference. The act of giving cursed gifts often follows patterns. Sometimes the giver harbors jealousy toward you, resenting your progress, your peace, or your relationships. Instead of confronting you directly, they cloak their envy in the form of generosity. What better way to enter your home than through something you gladly accept with your own hands? In other cases, such objects are given as part of deliberate rituals designed to bind you spiritually. These may involve spoken incantations, the infusion of negative energy, or symbolic markings hidden within the design of the gift itself. While you see beauty, the one who gave it sees a trap, now sitting in your living space. Ornaments are especially common because they are meant to remain visible. A cursed figurine, mask, or decorative piece can stay in your living room, bedroom, or hallway for years without raising suspicion. It silently influences the atmosphere, shifting it from peace to tension. Families may notice more arguments, strange accidents, or sudden financial strain. Visitors may even comment on a heavy or uncomfortable feeling in your house without being able to pinpoint why. What is happening behind the scenes is the energy of the cursed object reshaping the spiritual climate of the environment. The danger of cursed gifts is heightened by emotional attachment. You might tell yourself, I can't throw this away. It was given to me by a close friend, a family member, or someone I respect. That emotional tie becomes a chain, binding you not only to the giver, but also to the energy contained in the gift. The longer it remains, the more difficult it becomes to part with it, even when you sense something is wrong. That's why so many people continue to hold on to items that weigh them down spiritually. They cannot bring themselves to disconnect. There are also cases where gifts are passed down generationally, creating cycles of hardship without explanation. A cursed ornament given to a parent or grandparent can find its way into the home of their children, carrying the same destructive influence from one generation to the next. This cycle ensures that the spiritual bondage doesn't end with one person, but affects entire bloodlines. The beauty of the object hides the ugliness of its assignment, making it a silent thief of joy and progress. The key is discernment. Every gift is not a blessing. Sometimes what is presented with a smile can carry hidden chains. Trusting the inner sense of discomfort when you receive something, praying over objects before keeping them, and being willing to let go of anything that disrupts your peace are essential defenses. A cursed gift loses its power once it is removed from your life and replaced with an atmosphere of prayer and blessing. Your home is sacred ground, and it must not become a storage place for ornaments designed to bring you down. Strange coins, charms, or figurines are some of the most common ways witches, or those involved in dark practices, plant destructive energy into people's homes. Unlike obvious occult symbols, these items seem so ordinary that many overlook them. A coin lying near your doorway, a charm found in your yard, or a figurine left behind after someone visits your house might appear harmless, even random. Yet these objects can be spiritually manipulated to serve as anchors, drawing negative energy into your space. They act like keys, opening invisible doors that allow confusion, poverty, and unrest to flow freely into your life. Coins are particularly dangerous because they are linked to wealth and provision. When they are cursed and strategically placed, they become instruments that reverse financial flow. Instead of attracting money, they repel it. People often find themselves working harder yet seeing less fruit, constantly losing money through unexpected expenses, or facing barriers every time they pursue financial growth. A cursed coin may look like a simple piece of metal, but spiritually it functions like a seed planted to harvest lack. Because coins are associated with value, the symbolism is intentional. It ties your financial life to a cycle of loss rather than blessing. Charms are another category that carries a deceptive appearance. Many are small, attractive, and often disguised as good luck tokens or protective symbols. Yet, if they have been prayed over in dark rituals, they become carriers of harmful assignments. Some charms are slipped into pockets, bags, or drawers, while others are hidden in places where you will stumble across them. The moment you take possession of them, you unknowingly take possession of their influence. They can create emotional instability, strange health issues, or a general sense of heaviness in your home. People may dismiss these as coincidence, but the timing and repetition reveal a deeper pattern. Figurines also hold a powerful role in this practice because they are designed to represent life forms. Whether carved animals, human-like statues, or even innocent-looking dolls, figurines can be spiritually charged to become vessels of control. Once placed in a home, they often shift the spiritual atmosphere, creating tension between family members or stirring fear in children who sense what adults cannot. Figurines carry more than decoration. They embody the spiritual intention of the one who gave or planted them. When witches use them, they are not meant to beautify a home, but to bind it in oppression. What makes these objects especially dangerous is the subtlety of their placement. Unlike cursed gifts, which are handed directly, strange coins, charms, or figurines are often planted without your knowledge. Someone may drop a coin by your gate, tuck a charm under a doormat, or leave a figurine in your garden. Because you assume you found it by accident, you dismiss the possibility of intentional harm. This is precisely the trap. You pick it up, bring it inside, or let it remain on your property, giving it authority to release its assignment. Over time, you notice patterns of misfortune, but cannot trace them back to the object that seemed too ordinary to matter. The spiritual danger is not only in possession but in ignorance. When people are unaware of how these objects function, they become passive hosts to destructive energy. They may clean their homes, redecorate, or even burn incense to shift the atmosphere. But as long as the cursed coin, charm, or figurine remains, the root issue persists. Darkness does not need permission when the door has already been opened by what you've allowed into your space. The first step toward freedom is awareness. Once you recognize that these everyday items can be weaponized, you begin to notice what doesn't belong. If you find a coin in a strange place, if a charm appears with no explanation, or if a figurine in your home carries a presence that feels off, it is not something to ignore. Trusting your discernment, removing the object, and cleansing your space through prayer are essential. The moment you strip these objects of their place in your environment, you shut down the spiritual doorway they were meant to keep open. Dreamcatchers, masks, or occult art are objects that often seem creative, cultural, or decorative on the surface, yet they can be used as spiritual gateways when manipulated with dark intentions. Many people bring these items into their homes without questioning their origins or the symbolism tied to them. In some cultures, dream catchers are believed to filter dreams, allowing good dreams to pass through while trapping nightmares. Masks are often connected to rituals, performances, or ancestral traditions, while certain pieces of art may carry hidden occult symbols. The danger lies not in the craftsmanship itself, but in the spiritual meaning that can be attached to these items, especially when they are prayed over or cursed by someone with malicious intent. What appears to be a harmless wall hanging or beautiful artifact can actually serve as an entry point for destructive energy. Dream catchers are among the most common examples. People hang them in bedrooms believing they will bring peace and restful sleep. However, if one has been spiritually charged for negative purposes, it does the opposite. Instead of protecting, it becomes a portal that invites nightmares, night terrors, or even spiritual attacks while you sleep. Since sleep is one of the most vulnerable times for the human mind and spirit, this creates a direct line of influence into your subconscious. Over time, you may find yourself restless, drained, or fearful during the night, never realizing the source of disturbance is the very object hung above your bed for supposed protection. Masks are another category with deep spiritual significance. In many traditions, masks were not created as casual decorations, but as instruments for rituals, ceremonies, or spiritual performances. They were designed to represent spirits, deities, or ancestors, often inviting their presence into the space where the mask was displayed. When such masks are taken from their original context and placed in homes as art, they sometimes carry the same spiritual attachments. If a mask has been involved in ritual activity or cursed intentionally, it acts as a magnet for unrest, fear, and division. Even replicas can serve as symbolic vessels, especially if they carry designs that represent dark or oppressive forces. What seems like a striking cultural centerpiece on a wall could in reality be a constant invitation for troubling spirits. Occult art functions in a similar way. Many pieces of artwork, whether paintings, carvings, or tapestries, contain symbols that appear abstract but are rooted in occult meanings. Some are geometric shapes tied to ritual practices, while others depict entities or forces that were never meant to be admired in a home. Art is powerful because it conveys not just imagery but intention. A piece created for spiritual manipulation can shift the entire atmosphere of the room it inhabits. People may feel anxious, angry, or depressed without understanding that the energy of the art is influencing their emotions and environment. The eye sees beauty or uniqueness, while the spirit senses disruption. The subtle danger of dreamcatchers, masks, or occult art is that people willingly display them. Unlike hidden objects that are planted secretly, these items are often chosen and purchased, which gives them even greater influence. You give permission by placing them in your living space, believing they serve as decoration or protection. This willing acceptance creates a stronger foothold for their spiritual purpose to manifest. The more central or visible their placement, the greater their reach in shaping the energy of the home. One of the most deceptive aspects of these objects is that they appeal to emotions, beauty, nostalgia, fascination with culture, or even a desire for spiritual connection. People rarely question whether something that looks beautiful or artistic could carry harm. That's why they remain undisturbed in homes for years, while quietly influencing those who live there. The symptoms often appear as patterns: frequent arguments, recurring bad dreams, sudden feelings of heaviness, or even difficulty praying. Yet, because these experiences seem intangible, people fail to trace them back to the very objects hanging on their walls. Discernment is the critical defense against this type of infiltration. Not every piece of art or cultural object carries darkness, but when one does, its influence is undeniable. Paying attention to how you feel around such objects, listening to your inner discomfort, and being willing to remove anything that disrupts peace are essential steps. A home is more than a physical shelter. It is a spiritual atmosphere. What you hang on your walls or place in your rooms is not just decoration. When dream catchers, masks, or occult art have been used as spiritual gateways, the only way to restore balance is to remove them and cleanse the space so that light replaces the darkness they carried. Unexplained feathers, hair, or bundles tucked into hidden places are among the most alarming signs of witchcraft infiltration in a home. Unlike ornaments or artwork that stand out visibly, these items are usually concealed in corners, under furniture, behind doors, or even in the attic or basement. They are not meant to be admired or displayed. They are designed to stay unnoticed, while silently releasing negative energy. The reason witches or practitioners of dark rituals use feathers, hair, or small bundles is because these objects carry symbolic and spiritual resonance. They are tied to life, to the natural world, and to rituals that can bind, curse, or control. When hidden in a home, they serve as secret anchors that tie the household to confusion, fear, or stagnation. Feathers are often associated with the spiritual realm, representing movement, air, or communication with unseen forces. When used by those with dark intentions, feathers become symbolic tools for summoning spirits or directing energy. Finding feathers in unusual places inside a home especially when they cannot be explained naturally, is more than coincidence. They may have been placed deliberately to shift the energy of a room, cause disturbances in communication among family members, or bring instability. Unlike feathers you might see outdoors, these ones often appear tucked away indoors where there is no logical reason for them to be. That unnatural placement itself is a warning sign. Hair carries even deeper spiritual weight because it represents personal identity and connection to one's essence. Throughout history, hair has been used in rituals precisely because it is a part of the body, carrying unique energy. When hair is found bundled, knotted, or tied with string in strange parts of the home, it can be a strong indication of witchcraft. Such bundles may be designed to bind a person, restrict their progress, or attach a specific curse to them or their family. Hair is rarely random in these contexts. It is chosen, prepared, and planted with a clear spiritual purpose. Its presence is almost always deliberate. Bundles, which may include hair, feathers, string, herbs, or even small bones, are especially concerning. They are physical representations of ritual acts, and each component is chosen for symbolic meaning. A bundle hidden under a bed might be designed to cause restless sleep, nightmares, or even sickness. A bundle tucked near the front door might serve to block prosperity or create constant setbacks for everyone entering the house. These items are rarely discovered immediately. They are left in places where they can remain undisturbed, quietly doing their work while the household suffers the effects. Arguments, financial strain, sudden illnesses, or overwhelming heaviness in the atmosphere. What makes feathers, hair, and bundles so dangerous is the secrecy of their placement. When an object is hidden, it is meant to bypass suspicion. A homeowner might clean their house thoroughly, yet never check behind wall fixtures, under carpets, or inside drawers where such items are hidden. This hidden nature is intentional, because the longer the objects stay undiscovered, the stronger their influence grows. By the time someone stumbles across them, the family may have already endured months or years of unexplained struggles. The appearance of such items should never be dismissed as random clutter or coincidence. A single feather in the middle of a field is normal, but feathers tucked into the corner of a bedroom, where no bird has access, is not. Hair tied with string or bundled with unusual objects has no natural explanation in a clean household. These discoveries should be treated with caution and urgency, because they signal an intentional act meant to infiltrate the safety of a home. Awareness is the first step in dealing with these hidden deposits. Once you recognize that feathers, hair, or bundles are more than random objects, you understand their role as spiritual footholds. Removing them physically is necessary, but it is not enough. They must be dealt with through prayer, cleansing, and the sealing of the home spiritually. Otherwise, the absence of the object still leaves the doorway open. What matters most is that you do not dismiss the discovery. These items carry weight beyond their physical form, and allowing them to remain is allowing their influence to continue. Identifying and removing them restores control, replacing hidden bondage with peace and protection. Candles, dolls, or stuffed figures are objects that seem innocent on the surface, yet they can be weaponized as vessels for dark energy when placed in someone's home. Many people see candles as decorative or as tools for relaxation, and dolls or stuffed figures as toys or collectibles. But in the hands of someone who practices witchcraft or occult rituals, these objects become carriers of curses, spells, or spirits. Their familiarity makes them effective, because most people never suspect that something so common could be used against them. They blend naturally into the environment, yet spiritually they can shift the atmosphere and disrupt peace in powerful ways. Candles hold a special place in rituals because they are directly tied to firelight and intention. In many practices, candles are used to channel energy, to represent prayers, or to serve as symbols in ceremonies. When a candle has been prayed over with dark intentions and placed in a home, it can act as a beacon that invites destructive forces. The flame is symbolic. It doesn't just burn wax, it burns as a representation of the energy behind it. People often light such candles innocently, believing they are adding ambience, but in reality, they may be activating a spiritual assignment. Even unlit candles can serve as vessels if they've been consecrated in a ritual. What seems like a harmless object on a shelf may in truth be a key that ties the household to misfortune or unrest. Dolls are even more sinister because they are designed to resemble human forms. This makes them highly effective for symbolic magic or ritual manipulation. A doll in the wrong hands becomes more than a toy. It becomes a substitute for a person. Witches may curse dolls, tie them to individuals, or use them as points of contact for spells. Once placed in a home, the doll can serve as a proxy through which harm is directed. Children who play with such dolls are particularly vulnerable because they form emotional attachments to them, unknowingly inviting influence into their lives. Parents might dismiss their child's sudden nightmares, fears, or behavioral changes, not realizing that the cause could be a doll that carries spiritual weight. Stuffed figures, like plush toys or animal replicas, function in a similar way. They are designed to hold emotional value, often given as gifts or keepsakes. Because of this, they are rarely questioned or discarded. Yet, when cursed or manipulated, they can serve as anchors of heaviness in a room or in the life of the person who keeps them close. A stuffed figure sitting quietly on a bed or shelf can be far more than decoration. It can be a constant, silent channel of negative energy. People often describe a feeling of unease around such items, but dismiss it because of the object's innocent appearance. The effectiveness of candles, dolls, and stuffed figures lies in their placement. These are not objects that seem out of place in a home. A candle on a coffee table, a doll in a child's room, or a stuffed bear on a shelf all look natural. This ensures that they remain undisturbed for long periods of time, giving their spiritual assignment plenty of opportunity to manifest. Over time, households may notice patterns of misfortune, sickness that lingers, relationships that soar, children that struggle with fear or rebellion, or finances that suddenly collapse. Because these issues appear unrelated, the true source often goes unnoticed. The danger also grows because people form attachments to these objects. A doll might be a childhood keepsake, a stuffed figure a gift from a loved one, or a candle part of a family tradition. That emotional connection makes it harder to let go, even when there are signs that something is wrong. Witches and those with dark motives exploit this tendency, choosing objects that will be kept rather than discarded. By doing so, they secure long-term influence in the life of their target. Recognizing the potential danger of these objects is not about living in paranoia, but about practicing discernment. A candle doll or stuffed figure may be nothing more than what it appears, but when such an item is tied to a series of negative experiences, it should not be ignored. Peace should be the natural atmosphere of a home, especially in spaces like bedrooms where people rest. When these areas feel heavy or disturbed, The objects in them must be examined carefully. What seems harmless may in fact be the very tool that has been opening the door to darkness in the home.